Welcome. This is HR That Works President, and in 5 minutes I'm going to share with you the essentials of helping to avoid and manage Americans with Disability Act claims. So to begin with, the ADA applies if you've got 15 more employers nationally. If you're fortunate enough to be in California, their state disability laws apply if you've got 5 or more employees. The first question to always ask is if there is in fact a disability. If somebody's got a broken leg, obviously disabled. And the law says there's 3 types of disabilities. There's your actual disability, you've got a broken leg. There's the fact that people had a history of a disability. So maybe they were an alcoholic and they're not currently consuming, but they got a history, so they're protected by disability laws. And if you perhaps perceive that they have a disability. So let's say that they're acting out at the workplace and it's your perception that they're passive aggressive or they've got clinical depression or something like that. So if you simply perceive that they have a problem, then you may be considered, they may be considered protected from the disability laws. So whether or not something's a disability is a very broad definition, and I encourage our clients not to get stuck in this thing because people still have to do their jobs even if they're disabled. And so what it really comes down to is following the process. So for example, the HR That Works members have a disability accommodation form that all their employees have to fill out to begin the accommodation process. It then goes to the physician to tell you what their limitations are on that. And then you begin the 4th step. Once you have the medical information, understand what the limitations are. So let's say somebody's got a limitation now from a shoulder injury they had, that now they're disabled in their shoulder and they can't lift things in the warehouse as frequently as they did before. So now the question is, can you somehow accommodate that with some type of lifting mechanism? And this whole business about accommodation requires a dialogue. So you see the word dialogue here? That means it's a give and take. That means the employee has to come up with ideas and you have to come up with ideas. Doesn't mean you have to accept the employee's idea if you think you have a better one. And ultimately, what's most important about the accommodation dialogue is pretty much the courts say whoever gives up on a dialogue first loses. So if the employee says, oh, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to try that, they lose. The employer says, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to try that, that's unreasonable, chances are they'll lose. The only chance they have of winning that argument is that they could say this would cause an undue burden for us. So if I'm a company with 6 employees and I got to buy a $20,000 lifting mechanism machine for somebody, that's going to be an undue burden. The law is not going to demand that of you. In fact, according to the EEOC and the Job Accommodation Network, most accommodation costs $500 or less. And interestingly, I was at the labor law conference for the California lawyers, and the top disability rights attorney basically shared with all the other attorneys, ultimately, I still have to prove that my client could have done the job they were hired for. So you just keep having this accommodation. If somebody makes one, don't poo-poo the answer. Say, listen, let's try this and see if it's going to work, as long as there's no potential of it aggravating an injury or causing a safety problem with somebody else. And lastly, if you ever get stuck on this, you get professional help, because none of you are lawyers, okay? If you are, that's great. And whether you slept at a Holiday Inn last night or whatever, you're not really professionally equipped to deal with this stuff. If you're an HR That Works member, you can certainly call our hotline. And I encourage even our members to contact the Job Accommodation Network. Their director, Beth Loy, and their attorney, Linda Batiste, have helped our members out for the years. They're housed in West Virginia. They're funded by the Department of Labor. They are the experts in accommodation. If you just Google JAN, it'll be the first thing that comes up, and you'll see, for example, a list of all the different types of disabilities and suggestion of how you can accommodate those disabilities. So again, this is the main part of it. The most important part is to constantly engage in a dialogue and understand people still have to perform their essential job functions. Thank you very much. Below you'll see a little ADA flow chart that helps you think through the process. It's an example of one of the very many tools we have on HR That Works to help with ADA accommodation. Any questions, again, don't hesitate to contact us. If you're not an HR That Works member, we hope to see you on board soon. Take care.